And today we are talking about our safety and general rules for CSI here at Northwood. So first off, we need to understand what universal safety precautions are. They're basically intended to minimize your exposure to chemical and biological contaminations. Basically, when we are doing a lab, we have to be very careful that we are not either contaminating evidence or that we are not getting extra chemicals into our bodies because some of the chemicals we use can be hazardous. So, first rule is food and beverages do not come into the lab. Eating and drinking in the lab is definitely not okay. Because for obvious reasons, you don't want to be eating chemicals and you definitely don't want to be getting whatever you're eating onto your evidence and contaminating it. You should wash your hands after handling any evidence. Before you eat or drink or use the restroom, you should definitely make sure you wash your hands to make sure you don't have any chemicals or anything else on them. Avoid placing pens and pencils in your mouth. I know you're thinking that's a pretty obvious one, don't chew on your pencils. But for the most part, you just want to make sure that you're not touching something with your gloves on and then putting it in your mouth or on your face. When handling hazardous evidence, you should always avoid using your phone or your electronic devices. And the reason is you could get chemicals or evidence onto the phone or the device. There will be times when we can use our devices and times when we can't, so you need to just listen and make sure you're following the rules, the safety precautions for that lab. So, why would food in a forensics lab be a bad idea? That's right, you could contaminate the evidence or you could contaminate your food. Why would using your Chromebook or your phone while analyzing evidence be bad? Because you could contaminate the evidence or get evidence on your device, both of which would be very bad. So, use of PPE. PPE is personal protective equipment. For the most part, most of the things we're going to do won't require a lab coat, but if it does, then I will provide one for you. And you need some sort of apron or something to cover up your clothing when working with evidence. Wear appropriate gloves to protect your hands, and that does mean the entire time. You can't take them off halfway through and then put them back on. Protect your eyes with close-fitting goggles or safety glasses that basically protect your eyes from chemicals or any kind of debris, but honestly, there won't be a lot of debris with CSI. It'll be mostly chemicals. Before leaving the lab, make sure you have disposed of all your protective equipment properly, meaning if they are disposable gloves, they should be in the trash. You don't take them with you. You are responsible for keeping your work area and all your instruments clean and organized. So everything has to be cleaned up before you go. And it's your job to make sure that you can get to the things that you actually need. Reagents and chemicals should be returned to the proper shelf after use with the labels facing the front so you can tell what they are. Spills on the sides of the bottles, you're going to need to clean up and do all of that before you return them. And yes, we will be using chemicals. So, appropriate clothing, no open-toed shoes. Tools and equipment could fall on your foot. A shoe isn't a lot of protection, but it's something. Definitely no flip-flops. Keep your sleeves out of the way of the equipment and the chemicals. Don't let your hair fall onto the evidence. Don't be this guy. So obviously, yes, you need your eye protection. You need to wear safety glasses that have side shields on them. That's why regular glasses don't tend to work because chemicals can get around the edges of the glasses because they don't come all the way up to your skin. Why would we need eyewear? Obviously, to protect our eyes, mostly from chemicals in CSI. And what to bring to class every single day. Well, you're going to need your notebook every day. And yes, that's either the physical or the digital notebook. I'm giving you guys an option to do either one, but you need it every single day. And so if you're doing a digital notebook, that means you need your Chromebook as well. You need something to write with every single day because some of the labs we do, you'll need to write physically on a piece of paper. You're going to need your planner because that's where your hall passes are, and you're going to write down what we're doing for the week. And you need your Chromebook pretty much every day. The reason being is that a lot of the things we do start out as digital pieces that you're going to need to access from your Chromebook. In short, bring your notebook, your pencil, your planner, your Chromebook every single day. So, things to leave in your locker. It's a small room. Unless you have some special condition that requires you to keep your backpack with you, it needs to be left in your locker. It is a safety issue because people will be tripping over your backpacks. Other things that don't need to come in. Obviously, no food, no makeup. The reason for the no food and makeup is obvious because that's a safety hazard. Toys are just going to be a distraction and cause a problem. Combs, this isn't normally a problem, but every once in a while I get people who like to play with combs and sit there and comb their hair all period. I know it sounds weird, but it's happened. Personal items in general should definitely stay in your locker, mostly because they don't belong in class, they're a distraction, but also because they could be damaged or you could lose them. If you've got a bunch of stuff you're not supposed to have and it's causing a problem, I will take them and you may get them back at the end of the day. Phones are not supposed to be in class at all. However, I realize most of you carry your phones with you all the time. Put them in your pocket or in your binder and leave them alone. If you need to use your phone for a photo of something, ask me first so that I know why it's out. And if it's disrupting class, put it away or don't bring it at all. And that means everything. So if you've got little finger skateboards, make sure that they are in your pocket or put away and not disrupting class. What's horseplay? Pushing, shoving, jumping, screaming, yelling, throwing things, being unsafe. This is all considered horseplay. Basically, if you are causing a safety problem, then that's going to be a referral to the office. We don't go with pause cards for safety issues. You're just going to end up going to the office with a referral because we need this room to be able to be safe so that everybody can learn something and do our labs and feel like this is a safe place to be. It's not going to be safe if you are throwing things or jumping over things or generally causing a hazard. So tardies. Your first tardy is usually a warning. Second tardy is also usually a warning. Hey, show up, be on time, stop being late. After that, then I mark them in Power School, and you get a tardy slip so you can go to the pause room at lunch. If you get more than a couple of tardy slips in a week, I think they turn it into an after-school detention. When I say on time, what I mean is in your seat and ready to go when the bell rings. Not running through the door at the last possible second, not waiting, talking to your friends, and then getting up to go sharpen your pencil. Basically, you need to be ready to go when the bell rings because once the bell rings, that's when we start class. That's not when you then get an extra 5 minutes to go get your stuff and get ready. That's what the break time is for. If you have a reason to be late, make sure you have a note from whoever was keeping you. If it's a teacher or the office or whatever, make sure you have a note. Otherwise, you're tardy. So, things about the room. Don't mess with equipment when it's out. There will be sometimes when there are pieces of lab equipment that are sitting out, you need to leave them alone because you don't know what they do, or even if you do know what they do, you don't know why it's there. Just leave it be. You get to use equipment pretty much when I say so. If it's sitting there or if it's sitting on the side of the room, don't mess with it. You're going to break something or cause a problem if you're not paying attention. You need to always leave the room in better shape than you found it. And nobody leaves until everything gets cleaned up and put away. Those are pretty basic rules, but at the same time, they're a big deal in the CSI classroom where we're going to be handling evidence and chemicals and other things. And you need to make sure everything is put away at the end of the period. So why is cleanup such a big deal? To make sure nothing hazardous gets left out for the next class. We don't want to have chemicals sitting out that shouldn't be touched by the next class that may or may not be a CSI class. And you need to know where everything is for the next time we're going to use it. That doesn't happen if you put it back in the wrong place. So generally, if you break it, you buy it, especially if you're horsing around or causing a problem when you broke it. Equipment is not inexpensive. It is fairly expensive equipment, and we can't afford to keep replacing it because you're being careless with it. If something wears out, or it's a genuine accident, or something happens just due to regular use, that's not something you pay for. That's something I replace. But you do get to replace things if you break them on purpose, or if you mess with them while they're out and break them while horsing around. So, Chromebooks. Don't touch the screens with your fingers or pencils or anything else. If you do, you're going to risk the chance of breaking the liquid crystal display and causing a dead spot on the screen, and that would mean the whole Chromebook would have to be replaced. Don't walk around with your Chromebook open. It's going to fall. You're going to drop it. It's going to be a problem, so don't do it. Always hold on to the Chromebook with two hands, not just one. Always charge it at night and come prepared to learn. If you don't have it charged, then it's not going to be ready to use. And most of your teachers do not have extra chargers because the district has not provided them. Meaning that if you don't come with your charger, you can't charge that up in the middle of the day. Keep food, water, chemicals, supplies, everything away from your Chromebook. So if you've got your Chromebook out and you're eating something, you're going to end up with crumbs in your keyboard, which can actually damage it and cause it not to work. Or you're going to end up in some way like spilling soda on it or something. And keep in mind that if you break your Chromebook, you get to replace it, meaning that you have to pay the district for a new one. Now, some of you will say, oh, my parents bought the Chromebook insurance. That's great. They will cover that. Chromebook insurance does cover most things, but if you break it because you were horsing around with it, it may or may not be covered by the insurance. So you need to be careful and not break it. Now, in general, there will be a safety test. You need to pass all the safety tests with 90% or better. Why? Because I don't want someone who can pass a safety test with 70% touching equipment or supplies, because that means that person doesn't know enough about safety and doesn't know how to be safe. So you have to pass all the safety tests with 90% or better. They are not hard. Yes, you can retake them once after you finish a study guide. So once the study guide's done, then you can retake the safety test if you need to. Most people pass it the first time, and it's not a big deal. But I am looking for that 90% or better to make sure that you do understand how to be safe. So I hope this presentation helps you, and make sure you've got your notes and that you study and are ready to take the safety test.